What's going on, guys? My name's Corey Kamori, and welcome to Tunage Tuesday here on the Breakdown channel. In this weekly segment, I will be posting a video discussing music. Now, that video could be a lyric analysis video, one of my 10 song meanings in 1 minute videos, my video essays, like the ones that I've done on Ghost, Audioslave, or System of a Down. Or it could be an album review like today's video. With all that said, let's break it down. Here's my review for Royal Blood's How Did We Get So Dark? Bursting onto the rock scene in 2013 with their debut self-titled album, Royal Blood has really filled the void left behind by bands like White Stripes, in that they have really fulfilled the need for a lot of rock fans to have that raw, heavy sound again. You know, a lot of bands that are playing quote-unquote rock music nowadays, they have kind of what I would consider to be an overly produced poppy sensibility about their music, whereas Royal Blood has gone the complete opposite direction. They've decided to strip everything down to the bare essentials and give you heavy, in-your-face rock and roll. Now, when I first checked out Royal Blood's first album, I absolutely loved it. Songs like the opening track Out of the Black, and songs like Loose Change, and songs like Figure It Out. Those songs, just for me personally, gave me the same kind of vibe that a band like Clutch would give me. They have just rhythmically simplistically constructed songs, yet they just find a way to infectiously enter you and just make you want to fucking groove and just not overthink stuff too much. Just sit back, sit in the pocket, just sit back and enjoy that groove, enjoy the rhythmic sensibilities of what this band brings forth. And I've been highly anticipating this album since it was announced, and you know, I've continue to play their first album over and over and over again since 2013. So this album was one of my most anticipated of this year. And with that being said, I think overall the album is really good. A lot of it is pretty much more of the same. What you're seeing is what you get. They don't really veer off into any kind of uncharted territory here for the band. Royal Blood kind of sticks to that sound. They're not afraid to kind of just almost go the AC/DC route of just keeping their songs pretty much the same from their first album, but interjecting enough energy to where you don't really notice it that much or mind it. Now, the album starts off really strong with the opening title track, How Did We Get So Dark? And in this song, again, it reminds me kind of like what they've done in the past, especially with a song like Loose Change mixed with a little bit of the closing track on their first album, which for some reason the title is escaping me right now. But again, it's pretty much what they say right out the gate is, look, this is who we are. This is our sound. You either like it or you don't like it. You're going to come along with us for this ride, or are you just going to say, ah, fuck, this isn't for me? For me personally, I fucking loved it. I thought it was a great opening track. It really got you set into the mood, and it really just kind of said for me, all right, these guys clearly are sticking to their guns, and I'm totally fine with that. And then after this song, we transitioned into the first single that was released, which is called Lights Out. Now, Lights Out has the same kind of vibe as the opening track on their first album, Out of the Black, for me. Again, very catchy vocals, very catchy melodies that are being laid over vocally, bass-wise. Even the drums are just really infectious and just really, I don't know, it's poppy without being cheesy. Like, it's got this poppy, catchy sensibility about it, but they never really stray into the pop rock genre of bands like Imagine Dragons or Cage the Elephant or anything like that. These guys have the ability to stick within that rock genre that is grittier, that has a little bit of a rawer sound, but they're not afraid to incorporate those big choruses, those big open choruses that make you just want to fucking scream the words out loud at a concert. And transitioning from this song into the third song, I Only Lie When I Love You, again, it's the same basic thing. We're just moving through these songs that have these really infectious grooves. This song in particular really just this is the one that makes me just kind of want to nod my head side to side. Just it makes me just want to kind of jive whenever I'm hearing the song. It's just a really good song. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and for me, it's one of the highlights on the album. Now, the middle half of this album kind of takes a downturn for me. The song She's Creeping just, for me, doesn't really work. The bass that's being played throughout the verses is just odd, and I'm a huge fan of progressive metal and progressive music in general, and I'm not opposed to utilizing weird sounds on an album. However, this song, it never really felt like it never really like set into my head. Like, for some reason, I couldn't go back and go, oh, you know what, this is exactly how this part goes. I couldn't hum the part for you. And it's kind of strange and polarizing compared to the rest of the album. Like, it just throws you off. It's like, what the fuck is this? This is weird. Now, that being said, it does open up into another big chorus. It's very catchy, and I like the chorus. However, the verse section just, it's odd. It feels like it's fighting against the vocal rhythm, or the vocal cadency, the tone of the vocals. It just, for me, it doesn't work. And songs like Look Like You Know, also, for some reason for me, just, they seem like songs that could have been on a B-sides for this album. They never really reached the level of the first three songs in catchiness, in the groove territory, and the heavy territory. Like, they were okay. There was just nothing really special about them. Now, that being said, I can say that this album does pick up at the end with the last three tracks, especially Hook, Line, and Sinker. That song is fucking awesome, and it is my favorite song on this album. The vocals and the lyrics are just so fucking catchy. And going a little more into lyrics, another thing I will say about this album is it is not very lyrically inspired, in my opinion. It's not very creative. A lot of the songs kind of tackle the same basic concepts, abusive relationships, excess, and just feeling like you've been screwed over, or maybe you've been broken up with. Kind of emo-y topics, in my opinion. There's a way to do those things properly, and I feel like some of the songs on this album do that just fine. However, it just felt uninspired to me. It never really felt like they were pushing the envelope. Whereas the first album, they had those songs on there, but they also had other songs where the lyrical meaning was a little more ambiguous, and I really like that, especially if you watch the music videos. I highly recommend you guys check out these guys' music videos for all of their songs that they've released music videos for. These guys have a great eye when it comes to capturing imagery that makes you second guess and question what you initially thought the song may be about. And the last song in this album, too, really closes this album off with a bang. The song is called Sleep, and it is awesome. It very much reminds me of the closing track on the first album, much like how I said the third song on this album reminds me of the closing track. But again, it captured that angst, that emotional quality that I was looking for with the other songs. Because if you're going to stick within the same range of lyrical content, at least sell it really well. And this was one of those songs that sold it really well. You could feel kind of the angst and anguish in the vocals being delivered, and it was also a really catchy song, and I loved how the beat was a little bit slower. The song kind of was a little sludgier than some of the other songs on the album, and for me, it was the perfect way to close this album out, which this album is not very long. This album is only about 34 minutes long, and honestly, for me, it sticks around just as long as it needs to. I think had this album been any longer, it probably would have become tedious, it would have become repetitive, and it just would have overstayed its welcome. Being around the 30-minute mark is perfect for a band like this because their songs are supposed to be kind of 3-minute songs that are really quick, enjoyable songs that kind of get you in the mindset of just having a good time, sitting back, enjoying the groove, enjoying the vocals, enjoying the heavy guitars, but it's not something that you can really sit down and overthink. But when it's inspired and when it is well executed, it soars. If you're a fan of bands like White Stripes, if you're a fan of bands like Clutch, I would even say if you're a fan of a band like The Sword even, I feel like you would enjoy this band on some level or another, because it has that vibe of mixing all of those elements. I would also suggest, if you're a fan of a band like Queens of the Stone Age, these guys at times on this album have a very Queens of the Stone Age vibe about them. Again, for me personally, not a perfect album, but it's something that I can sit down, listen to, have a good time for about 30 minutes, and then get out and do something else, listen to another album that might be a little more complex. So it was a good kind of palate cleanser for me. And with that being said, I would give the album a recommendation. If you like music like this, I would highly recommend you go and check it out. If I were to give it any kind of like score or rating, I would probably give it about an 8 out of 10. I really did, for the most part, enjoy this album. The middle section, again, gets kind of muddied for me and just uninspired, and I kind of lost interest in those songs. But it moved into the latter half of the album quick enough that I was back on track, enjoyed what I was hearing, and overall, I was pleased. I was not really disappointed. I loved the first album still more than this album, because for me, there's really not a bad song on that first album of theirs. But this album comes right in underneath that, and I'm really looking forward to see what these guys do moving forward, if they start implementing some more experimentation with their sound, if they keep sticking to this sound, which if they do, I'm fine with that, because it's a good sound and it's something that I enjoy. But what do you guys think? Have you guys checked out this album yet? Have you been looking forward to this album? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know, if you are a Royal Blood fan, what's your favorite song off of this album or their last album? And thank you again, guys, as always. My name has been Corey Komori. Thank you for watching. This has been me on the Breakdown channel here on Tunage Tuesday. See you guys next time.